Fellow Kenyans, patriots and comrades, this is General Miguna Miguna speaking to you from exile in Toronto. I have announced that I am coming home on January the 7th, 2020 at 9:25 p.m. That is a Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 at 9:25 p.m. My flight is Lufthansa flight LH590 from Frankfurt, Germany. If there is any incident, please call any of my lawyers, Dr. John Kaminwa of Haminwa & Haminwa Advocates, plus 254 715 220 020, or office number plus 254 722 384 288, or Mr. Courtney Kazembe, a Toronto number plus 416 580 8759, or office number plus 1416 633 8311. People, and I believe these are people who are either malicious, have problems with their memory, or are distractors, have been asking why I'm coming home. I'm coming home because it is my home, because I was born in Kenya and have a birthright to be home. Kenya is my native land, where my ancestors, my great-great-grandparents, my parents, and I were born there. I grew up there. I have citizenship there. Citizenship I have not renounced. I also have constitutional rights. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 says a Kenyan citizen, both by birth and naturalization, have a right to live in Kenya, anywhere in Kenya, to work in Kenya, anywhere in Kenya, to do whatever they deem fit, as long as it is a legal undertaking or employment, to travel anywhere in Kenya, to engage in all lawful activities, including political activities, and to leave Kenya anytime they want, without apology, without begging, because it is not a privilege. Entering Kenya is not a privilege, it is a right. And when a Kenyan enters Kenya, they are not supposed to be checked by immigration. Immigration only checks foreigners seeking visas or entry permits into the country. Citizens only report to customs so that they can pay their taxes if they are bringing anything in excess of what they are allowed to bring, or excess money, or excess gifts. But citizens cannot be stopped on the basis of a passport. A citizen can enter Kenya like they do every day from Tanzania, from Uganda, from Ethiopia. When citizens of Kenya travel to Kigali, they leave and come back using their national ID card or their driver's license or their passports or their birth certificates, or they just cross the border like the Pokomo do, like the Turukana do every day, like the Maasai between Kenya and Tanzania do every day, like the Mozambicans, who are not even Kenyans, are allowed to do, to come into Kenya without any documentation. Moreover, I have a valid Kenyan passport that Despot Uhuru Metameta took from me illegally using his goons sent by people like Matiang'i, who have been convicted, took my passport, destroyed it in violation of my constitutional, legal, and birthrights. The courts have ordered that they return a valid passport in the manner that they took it away from me. They have refused to do so, but that does not legitimize what they did. So the court ordered that they return me to my home, which is where they took me away from, on February the 2nd, 2018. That's when these people invaded my home, destroyed it using explosives, and abducted me from my home. I was in Kenya, in my house, sleeping when they invaded my home and took me away and forced me onto flights out of the country. So the court said, like they should have said, return him home unconditionally. They have refused to do so. So I returned on March 26th last year, and you saw what happened. They refused to allow me in. They brutalized me, they assaulted me, they tortured me, they detained me in a toilet, and then sedated me, dragged me, put me in a plane unconscious, and dumped me in Dubai. I'm coming home because it is not a privilege. I'm not a second-class or third-class citizen. I'm coming home because Uhuru and his goons are not above the law. That in Kenya, the president, legitimate or illegitimate, like Uhuru Kenyatta, has no power over the constitution, has no power over the judiciary, is not the one who is supposed to interpret the laws, cannot force me, a Kenyan citizen by birth, to live outside the country. When I have a business to run in Kenya, I have a home, I have properties, I have family, or if I just want to go and just stay in Kenya without working and without doing anything. But I also have a right to engage in politics, economics, social affairs, cultural affairs, including running for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. I am not going to waive any of my rights, and I will enter Kenya as a Kenyan, not as a foreigner. The passport I have is a Canadian passport because the Kenyan illegitimate authorities refused to give me a valid Kenyan passport that I had, that they took from me. So the Canadian government empathized with my situation, just like the Kenyan government had done so to Dr. John Garang, the late Dr. John Garang, who traveled on a Kenyan passport, or like the Ghanaian government had empathized with Ngugi wa Thiong'o and gave him a passport when the Kenyan authorities had refused to give him a passport. That's the same situation I'm in. The same situation Raila Odinga was in 1962 when he left Kenya for Germany on a Tanzanian passport. When all these people returned to Kenya, they were not told to produce anything other than their ID, national ID cards. Koigi Wamwere returned to Kenya without a passport, and nobody declared him a foreigner. Even the so-called General Madenge, an Ethiopian, was brought to Kenya without a Kenyan passport. Essentially, what I'm saying is this. This is not about immigration. This is not about citizenship. This is about Uhuru Meta, the despot, and his conman brother Raila Odinga, fearing my presence in Kenya because of my ideas, because of my ability to articulate these ideas publicly, because of the energy, the focus, the discipline, the ideological clarity, and the mobilizing potential of these ideas and words. And I'm telling them that they may want to kill me, and they have tried before, or they may do it, but that will not stop an idea whose time has come. That will not stop the legacy that we've already enshrined in the consciousness of the country. That will not stop the history we have written and will continue to write. All we are demanding is our right. The right to speak freely, the right to mobilize and engage freely, the right to participate in national affairs freely, the right to compete against the demagogues who have been oppressing, brutalizing, looting, and exploiting Kenyans for the last 56 years. It is enough. Kenyans want bread. Kenyans want unga. Kenyans want water, clean drinking water. Kenyans want housing. Kenyans want healthcare. Kenyans want quality education. Kenyans want gainful employment. Kenyans want to come out of poverty. And they cannot do that when those occupying public office, either imposed through electoral frauds or imposed by the despot through appointments, are looting, are brutalizing, are maiming, are torturing, are killing, are rendering the citizens of the country to be destitute in their own country, are amassing wealth at an egregious criminal rate. They just used 11 billion Kenya shillings to produce that useless 156-page so-called BBI nonsense. Now they realize that the country has turned against the nonsense. They have retracted it, and they have concocted another team they are calling experts. Uhuru has suddenly become a constitutional expert. Larry Gumbe, the sycophant, has suddenly become an expert. Paul Mwangi, a sycophant, has suddenly become an expert. These are not experts. And obviously, this document is just intended to hoodwink Kenyans so that Raila Odinga, who is a coward, who has betrayed everyone, who has betrayed the country, who is now wiping Uhuru's behind, Raila Odinga, the conman, thinks that Uhuru would lift him on his despotic shoulders to State House, even if there is no power that he is going to get. As long as Raila Odinga is looting with Uhuru Kenyatta, is okay. Now they are saying Uhuru Kenyatta should not retire. He must retire. He will retire. We have said no. Kenyans have said no. And I am calling on Kenyans to mobilize, to organize, to disseminate these ideas, to talk with their neighbors, to talk with their family members, to talk with their workmates, to talk with anyone they can reach, and tell them our power is in our numbers. The more we come out, the more we demonstrate peacefully against despotism, like the Sudanese did, like the Burkinabe did, like they have done it in Chile, like they did it in Lebanon, like they have done it all over the world, despots will fall. And despots must fall. Because revolution now. Viva! Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa. See you in Nairobi on January the 7th at 9:25 p.m. Lufthansa from Frankfurt, flight LH590. Viva!